and you can totally do that. They cook together perfectly. So yeah, again, when you cook your rice, brown rice, white rice, what have you, just put a little dash of quinoa in it. It just adds that extra crunchy texture to it, and also super healthy for you. So that's a little tip for you. If you're just eating plain rice, add a little bit of quinoa. It's so good.
Quinoa is the perfect base for salads.
It is, right? It is a nice filler for a salad, and it's super healthy. And again, it's superfood. Can't go wrong with it. Can't have too much quinoa. And the thing is that I feel like quinoa is a relatively new, like it's not a new food because it's been going on, and it originated in South Africa, and it's kind of one of their staple for a long time. And we kind of just ignored it for the longest time until recently we discovered it, and everyone just like crazy about it, and even again titled it as superfood, you know, which is great. We're discovering all these healthy alternatives. I also like to put some tomatoes in rice. That's also really good. Make some dirty rice. Sounds so amazing. Did anyone have any April Fool's prank? I don't think so. No. Did you, Nugget? Did you guys have April Fool's pranks? Did you do anything interesting? Any pranks? Any fun pranks? A dash of quinoa into stir fry. That also works too. Yeah, totally. Why not? Quinoa everywhere. It's so healthy for you. Alright, we have parsley. Now we're gonna add some cilantro. So, we finished the trans fat. Now we're moving on to saturated fat. Now, saturated fat is kind of in the gray area between, you know, to eat or not to eat. It is in the gray area. So what's saturated fat? Too lazy to plan. Honestly, I'm kind of the same way too. I didn't really have a lot of time to plan, but you know, at least I didn't get pranked. But yeah. How are you today, by the way, Nugget? I hope you have a great start of April. It is springtime. And how's school? How is school coming along? It is our last month for school. So excited. So what saturated fat is that? The saturated meaning it is the oil or the fat is saturated with hydrogen, and because the high amount of hydrogen in it, it creates the bad type of cholesterol and will tip the balance between the good and the bad cholesterol. That's why it's not really good for you. It's not the type of fat that we want to constantly consume. And how to identify these saturated fat is that they're typically the type of fat that will stay in solid in room temperature. So for example, butter, lard, stuff like that. So basically fat came from animals, full fat dairy, or even tropical oil. So for example, coconut oil and palm oil. Those are all saturated fat.
Chemistry class with Samura.
I try, I'm curious, I try. Jared, welcome in. How are you doing today? Let me give you a shout out. Jerry.
Oh, yes, good. Next week is spring break, which means a week of no school, but school's going good. How is school for you?
Nice. Any plans for spring break, Nugget? For me, again, we're at the last month of school as well. It's like going gray. Just busy with like final projects and exams and stuff. But other than that, it's going really good. I just can't wait for it to be over though. Just take a few months break from school. It's not that bad. It's good for your hair, your skin.
Okay naman.
Consume it in terms of like relating to, you know, heart disease and all that. It's not very good for you, but it does have some nutritious value to it. So I guess like it is good in moderate amount, but don't go too overboard with coconut oil. You hate going here? Always make me hungry. Unreal. Thank you so much for dropping by though. I hope you have a great day today.
Alright, tomorrow.
I like how chemistry is linked with cooking, so in a way cooks are scientists. I definitely feel like bakers are more of a scientist because they have to measure everything, right? Like how breads rise and how, you know, desserts cook. It's all science, and they really just take it to a different level. They have like their own, you know, formula for making breads and stuff. They're scientists. I think for cooks, for us, we kind of just like to eyeball everything. We're less of a scientist. But thanks for that. Thanks for that. I take that as a compliment because scientists are smart. So yeah, so we have coconut oil, butter, lard.
Channel your inner
Channel your inner Bill Nye. Okay, let me just feel some connection with him. Let me just build that connection with Bill Nye. However, saturated fat isn't totally bad for you. Like Mercurius, you were saying, coconut oil. It's not completely bad for you, and there is a suggested amount of saturated fat that you could intake, which is 10% of your daily intake of calories.